Good evening and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. Thank you for joining us on yet another episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It's my absolute pleasure to be with you here on a rather unusual night. It's a Wednesday night and my name is Tonchi Prusak. I'm your host and I'll be with you for the next hour or so, maybe 45 minutes thereabouts. It'll be a little bit of a shorter show tonight. But an unusual time slot because of unavailability on Monday. But nonetheless, tonight's show is going to be a jam-packed show. We've got a lot happening during the week. Football Victoria released the preliminary competition structures for the local league and the Women's State League competitions, as well as the Metro Juniors as well. So it all kicks off next weekend. But during tonight's show, we'll be looking at some of the competition groupings, and there is a little bit of a unique twist, if you like, to this year's competition. We'll delve a little bit more into that a bit later on. Also, this weekend coming up in State League 5, Men's State League 5 action, it's the first Geelong derby that is a top versus second. So we'll be talking to the two coaches from the Lara United and Surfside Waves senior men's teams. That's Eric Lawrence and Dan Benson. Caught up with them a little bit earlier tonight, and we will air that that interview a little bit later on in the show. So we've got a massive show, as we've said, lined up for you tonight. So, folks, do hang about. We've got huge news coming throughout the evening. Breaking a lot of news, that's for sure. Now, the Geelong Region Soccer Show is powered by the Community Sports Media Services and the Geelong Region Soccer News. And our major sponsor for 2024 is the Gordon TAFE College. So we thank the Gordon sincerely for all of their support this year. We really thank them. And we also thank our business advertising sponsors who tonight are Curva Coaching, Highland Turf Sales, Birregurra General Store, and J Hill Books as well. Folks, don't go away. Straight after this short commercial break, a word from our major sponsor. We've got tonight's news desk.
Your future is in your hands. There is a whole world waiting for you, and your choices determine how you will impact it. At the Gordon, we recognise this. That's why we champion hands-on learning. Get your hands dirty. Grab what's in front of you. Learn by doing. Turn your passion, your ideas, and mould them into your creations. You'll be supported the entire way. You'll grow your skills in small classes, guided by teachers who are industry experts. You'll learn in state-of-the-art facilities or out in a real-world workplace setting. Your hands-on experience will increase your understanding and put you ahead of your university peers. You'll graduate work-ready and you'll graduate sooner, with a huge range of qualifications to choose from and support services to enable your success. Now is the time to continue your learning journey. At the Gordon, your future is in your hands.
Welcome back to the news desk now of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. And we'll start off with Media Watch and what has been making the news in the papers. Last Saturday, there's a full page devoted to the World Game. Very rare, but in the Advertiser, we had a story about Geelong Galaxy, their first game. The All Whites primed for a big derby showdown. An in-depth look at the Surf Coast versus Bell Park State League 4 local derby clash, and Rangers shift their attention back to the league after being eliminated from the Australia Cup. In Monday's edition, the Coasters net 5 against Bell Park. A good story there about the Surf Coast, and they just seem to be going from strength to strength in State League 4. Yesterday's paper had a great story from Ben Cameron in the Geelong Advertiser. Kearns enters new Galaxy. And it was all about Rachel Kearns, the Geelong AFLW Irish recruit who has decided to stay in Australia over the coming winter and really ready herself in, as far as the next AFLW season is concerned. Now, what are we talking about AFLW on this program? We don't want to talk about that code, but the incredible thing is that she's decided to play for Geelong Galaxy FC. She loves her soccer, and soccer is a big thing. Was a big part of her life in Ireland, back home in Ireland. So she's decided to play for the Galaxy over the winter season. Now, we did try and get a hold of Rachel. We did approach someone from Geelong Galaxy, but we've been told that after that article in the Geelong Advertiser, the Geelong Footy Club supposedly doesn't want her to do any more interviews. Well, that's the egg ball playing hard and difficult with everyone else, anyone that they see to be competition. Anyway, moving along to the more, speaking of the Galaxy, we've also got the results of the VPLW and the VPL competition, the Men's Victorian Premier League and the Women's Victorian Premier League competition. Let's turn our attention to Saturday. First of all, it was North Geelong came up against Preston Lions. That should be Keilor Park. I do believe that may be an incorrect. It certainly is an incorrect. There we go. We got some footage. That was an incorrect score. So we actually had the results over the weekend. North Geelong came up against Preston Lions. Very good crowd, good travelling crowd from Preston. In the end, North Geelong lost 2-4. Escudero and Ryan Opperman scoring for North Geelong. It's their 8th loss in 8 games in VPL 1. Geelong Galaxy, they travelled to Keilor Park and they lost 1-0. This is on the Sunday. So they've got a result now, win-loss record of 1 win, 1 loss from their first 2 games in the VPL competition. So this week we're going to see games being played at, we'll bring that fixture list up. Here we go. On Saturday, Bentley Greens hosting North Geelong Warriors. That game's at Kingston Heath Soccer Complex, round 9 fixture. And then on Sunday, the Galaxy host Ringwood City at Hume Reserve. So it's going to be a huge day for the Galaxy this Sunday because the juniors are also at home. They'll be taking on Alamein FC in the junior girls NPL competition. So they're the fixtures. They're the fixtures for this Sunday. On the left-hand side, we'll look at the seniors and the reserves. All the action there is on pitch number 1. So the reserves kick off at 1 p.m. against Ringwood City, round 3 of the VPLW competition, while the seniors, they kick off at 3 p.m. on the main ground. On the right side there, on pitch 2, the under-13s will kick off at 12:30, followed by the under-15s at 2 o'clock. And quite unusually, the under-17s will start the day off with a 10 a.m. kickoff. So they'll be the ones that will get the day started. We've got some footage here of the Surf Coast versus Bell Park local derby that was held at Banyulwarri Reserve last Saturday, State League 4 action. And Surf Coast convincingly ran out 5-0 winners. They just seem to be doing really, really well. John Pike once again amongst the goals. Well, his 42nd minute strike there from a defensive error by the All Whites cost them dearly, and as a result, they went on to take a lead, 2-0 lead at the break. Luka Jurkovic, the new recruit for Surf Coast, he scored his debut goal for the Coasters, and they really have got an electrifying forward setup. So if we have a look at the results of the State League matches played last weekend. In State League 1, Clifton Hill hosted Corio. It was a 0-0 draw there. In the big Macedonian derby, Sydenham Park hosted Geelong, and the score there was 3-3. Colosi, Deluri, and an own goal. The scorers there for Geelong in round 2. Geelong Rangers at home to Westvale Olympic. They just couldn't continue where they left off in round 1, and they suffered a big 1-5 loss. Sun scoring the only goal for the Rangers. As we mentioned, in State League 4, Surf Coast defeated Bell Park 5-0. Yashko Ikanovic, Pikett, Luka Jurkovic, O'Connell, and Mann scoring for the Coasters. Barwon travelled to JT Grey Reserve in Williamstown to take on Barnstoneworth and came home with a massive 5-1 win. Vedran Stojanovic, 2 goals. Milton Bailey, 1 goal. Tibor Zanders, a goal and an own goal. And in State League 5, well, some very, very good wins for all of the Geelong sides. Surfside Waves, 3-2 winners over Gisborne at Gisborne. And that is actually incorrect. Favetta scored 2 goals. Beaumont Kelly scored 1. And we'll find out a little bit later on when we speak to Dan Benson, the Surfside Waves coach, all about that game. Bendigo City hosted Lara United. And this is surprisingly was scoreline-wise, a one-sided game. Lara United coming away with a 4-1 win. And Bendigo City, prior to the season commencing, was touted as one of the championship favourites. Does that mean Lara now are looking very, very good? Well, they are. After round 2, they are on top of the competition standings. And just a reminder, a little bit later on in the show, we will be chatting with the gaffer from Lara United, Eric Lawrence. And last but not least, Deakin Ducks hosted Ballarat. And look at that scoreline, 6-1. Kalimbi, a hat-trick. Bere, Reese and Wyeth also scoring goals there. Let's turn our attention to this weekend's action. We've already looked at the VPL and the VPLW. Now let's have a look at the State League Round 3 fixtures. In State League 1, Corio hosting Whittlesea United at home. Hume Reserve kickoff there is 3 p.m. Geelong hosting FC Strathmore, coached by former North Geelong Warriors coach Mickey Cholina. That game at Stead Park will kick off at 6 p.m. under lights. In State League 2 action, Geelong Rangers travels to the interestingly named Create Football Park, where they will take on Albion Rovers. And then in State League 4 action, Barnstoneworth United for the second week in a row will host a Geelong team at their JT Grey Reserve home. And this time it will be Bell Park. Surf Coast are away to the West Side Strikers at Brookside Recreation Reserve. And then the big match, the big one, Barwon SC taking on Keilor Wolves. Now, if we have a look at the Men's State League 4 ladder, Keilor Wolves at the moment on top because of a far superior goal difference of positive 10. But they share top spot along with Surf Coast and Barwon. So all those 3 teams, I should say, have got a 100% win record. Moonee Ponds United and Melton Phoenix, they are yet to play their game. Their game was postponed and will be played at a later date. But Moonee Ponds United also has a 100% record at the moment. So that is going to be, we'll bring those fixtures back up. That's going to be definitely the match of the weekend, the match of the round. That game kicks off at Grovedale Reserve, 5:15 p.m. And in State League 5, Deakin Ducks have the bye, but it's the top versus second, the big Geelong derby, the local clash. And it's also the top of the table clash, Surfside Waves taking on Lara United. Really looking forward to that game. Well, what else have we got coming up we might even take a look at the junior boys NPL competition as well. So if we do have a look at, we'll bring up one of the ladders. Well, first of all, have a look at the girls NPL, and then we'll look at the boys. But the girls under 13 ladder there, Geelong Galaxy finish in 4th position at the moment in the under 13s. In the under 15s, Galaxy are in 5th spot. And in the under 17s, Galaxy in 8th position. Now looking at the boys NPL with just one more round to be played. North Geelong Warriors, they find themselves in 5th position. So they'll be in Division 2. Geelong in 2nd last position, they'll be in Division 3 with one round to go. In the under 15s, almost an identical situation. Well, it is with North Geelong. They will find themselves playing in Division 2. The Geelong side, they will be in Division 3, having finished in 10th position. Now, the under 16s, this is going to be a very interesting league. Well done to North Geelong. Well done to Geelong. Both those teams will be playing in the under 16s Division 1 competition. Joining them from the West will be Western United as well. In the under 18s, North Geelong will be in Division 2 and Geelong will be in Division 3. So there we have it. That's pretty much it as far as the juniors are concerned. We will take a very, very short break. Well, actually, it's not so much a short break. It's a little bit of a video report. But over the last couple of weeks during the school holidays, Curva Coaching Clinic, which is one of our business advertising sponsors, held 3 very, very successful clinics at Geelong College, in Lorne, and the last 3 days down at Bangor Warrior Reserve in Torquay North. And here's some photos and some of the young kids that took part in the Curva Coaching Clinic. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It's our 6th episode this week, and this is what's coming up. Very, very shortly, we'll be speaking to Dan Benson. He's the coach of the Surfside Waves senior men's team. We'll also be speaking to Eric Lawrence. He's the coach of the Lara United senior men's team, and they will be joining us very, very shortly. And they'll be talking about this weekend's big clash between those two combatants in State League 5 football. During the week, Football Victoria released the preliminary competition structures well, when I say preliminary competition structures, the competition structures for the senior men's and the senior women's, as well as the junior leagues as well in the local Geelong region competitions. And they've also released the first 4 rounds. Now, it's basically going to form a grading phase, and we'll go through the men's competition very, very shortly, and we'll pop the slide up. And effectively, it is a World Cup style format. So there are 6 groups, 5 teams in each group, except for Group F, which has 6 teams. So there's a total of 31 teams, which is exactly the same as last year. So the teams that are not going to be competing this in 2024 is Bell Park's 2nd team, Bowen's 4th team, I believe, and Breakwater Eagles' 2nd team. The teams that are going to be competing or participating in 2024 that did not last year, North Geelong, Colac Otway will be entering a 2nd team, and Corio Bay will be entering a 2nd team. So I've been told that it's not a case of if you finish on top, you go into Division 1. If you finish on 2nd, you go into Division 2, and so forth and so forth. Rather, it's kind of going to be loosely based on last year's standings, that is, where the team was with their Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. But it will also be subject to their performance in the 4-week grading phase. Now, is that clear as mud? Well, next week we hope to have Mike McKinstry, the chairman of the Geelong Region Football Committee, and also Simon Wrench, who is the regional administrator of the local region for Football Victoria. And they will be on the show, and they'll explain it a little bit better as well. And they'll also talk about, the thinking and the reasoning behind why it's been structured the way it's been structured. So if we have a look in the various groups, Bell Park, who won it last year, they beat Armstrong United. They are in Group A. Group C is Armstrong United, although Armstrong United also has a 2nd team in Group F. But we'll leave that up there for a little bit longer. As I said, the first 4 rounds have been released. After the conclusion of that 4th round, then the teams will be, dare I say, probably split into Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3. That's as far as the men is concerned. What are your thoughts, folks? Is it a good idea? I mean, the clubs have kind of suggested this to Football Victoria, the competitions department, and Football Victoria has listened to the clubs, which is a good thing. And in years gone by, there's always been a real tussle about teams wanting to or not wanting to move up or move down or whatever the case may be. So that is the reasoning. But pop it in the comments section. Do you play in the local league? Is your club involved in the local Geelong Region League? While we're at it, what should the name of the local competition be called? Some people still call it the GRFA League, the GRFC League, the WVSA League, the Sunday League, the Pub League, the Geelong Region League. We don't have a name for this competition, whether it's the men, whether it's the women, whether it's the juniors, whether it's the mini-roos. What do you think, folks? What do you think? I'd love to know. I'd really be interested to know what you think. Let's move along then to the women's competition. Now, the women's have got a total of 18 teams this year, an increase from 15 last year, which is a good thing. Fantastic. And I guess on the back of the success of the Women's World Cup, as well as the fact that there's a lot of girls that were probably in the 15s and 16 age group, they've moved into a senior competition as well. So the teams that this year will not be around is, unfortunately, FC Leopold. They have not been able to field a team in the women's competition. That's rather disappointing. Who will be fielding a team that didn't last year? Well, Surf Coast, Surfside Waves, and Drysdale all will be fielding seconds teams. That's fantastic. So we've got 6 teams in each of the 3 groups. Deakin Ducks, Surf Coast, Armstrong United, Bell Park, Bellarine Sharks, and Golden Plains form that first group, which is in effect the Division A group. Then you've got Deakin Ducks, Surfside Waves, Geelong, Lara United, Surf Coast, and Drysdale. And then in Group B. And then Group C, we've got Geelong, Drysdale, Barwon Heads, Corio Bay, and Surfside Waves. So if we look at the comparison of the men's teams and the women's teams from this year to last year, let's look at the men first. This year there's 31 teams. Last year there was 31. In the women's side of things, the women's competition, there are 18 teams this year, 15 last year. Okay, let's quickly take a look then at the juniors as well, because there's been a huge jump in the juniors section. If we have a look at the juniors, let's look at the boys first of all. So in 2024, there were only there will be 7 teams in the under 17s competition. Last year, there were 9 teams in the under 16s. There was no under 17 competition. In the under 15s, we've got 17 teams this year, 11 last year. So there's a big 55% increase there. In the boys under 13s, there are 4 divisions. Get this. There are 41 teams in total. So now what's happened is the teams or the divisions are all the odd years, under 13s, under 15s, under 17s. So the under 13s comprises of teams that are in the under 12 and the under 13 category. The boys that are in the under 15s are 14s and 15s, and the 15s are 16s and 17s. Okay, does that make sense? So in total, there are 65 junior boys teams in 2024. Last year, there was 50. So there's an increase there of 50%. And after the grading phase, it's likely that there may well be 4 divisions in the under 13 competition. And you'll probably find the majority of the under 12 teams will be in divisions, maybe 3, divisions 4, although there could be a gun under 12 team that will be playing in division 1 of the under 13s. Now the girls, last year they effectively had an under 15s division and an under 13s division, but it was, I guess, camouflaged with the labeling. The under 15s comp was known as the 14s and 15s, and the 13s comp was known as the 12s and the 13s. So this year, there are 4 divisions in the under 13s. So we're going to have a total of 19 teams in the under 13s, 14 teams in the under 15s, a total of 33 teams. Last year, those 2 divisions had a total of 25. So you can see there's a big increase of 32%, in fact, on those figures. That's a huge number. Well, we've got some comments coming up, and it's interesting to read what those comments are. Veshko Bigovic says, not sure what club would have asked for this. Veshko, I know you're involved with Corio. We'll find out more about exactly what that means next week when we have Mike McKinstry from the GRFC and Simon Wrench from Football Victoria joining us to explain a little bit more about this. But I'm told this all took place or eventuated at discussions held at the GRFC, Geelong Region Football Committee delegate meetings. We've also got Jack Arlo says, is the men's team structure the stupidest thing ever? Why, Jack? I mean, I'm interested to know exactly why. But it is very different. It is very unique, and certainly it might not appeal to everyone. But we've got 31 teams, and some of them are last year were playing in Division 3, probably should have been Division 1 material. But there's players and teams that don't want to step up to Division 1, so they'd rather stay in Division 3. And hence you have this lopsided effect. So I think Football Victoria had to do something. Whether this is the right thing or not the right thing, time will tell, no doubt. But next week we hope to find out the reasoning behind all of this, and that will probably make things that little bit clearer. We will take a very, very short break, and when we return, it is going to be time for our first 2 guests for tonight. We'll be speaking to Lara United senior men's head coach Eric Lawrence first, followed by the Surfside Waves senior men's head coach, Dan Benson. Folks, don't go away. It's the Geelong Region Soccer Show, and keep those comments coming.
Fantastic service, food and coffee, well-stocked produce and groceries at very reasonable prices. 5 stars for the coffee served, beautifully made latte, everything you need in this wonderful little shop. Staff are always friendly and helpful, an absolute treasure to the community. These are just some of the glowing comments of praise by both regular and first-time customers of the iconic Birregurra General Store. The De Cunto family, well known in Geelong football circles, has run the iconic Country General Store since 2020, and apart from providing top quality service, they, along with their extremely pleasant and friendly staff, make sure that everything you could possibly need is well stocked and always available. Located at 59 to 61 Main Street in Birregurra and open all 7 days a week, the Birregurra General Store is open from 6am each weekday and 7am on weekends. If in Birregurra, pop in and say hello to Steve and Angus.
Well, you are watching the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. It's episode 131, our 6th season. And sometimes I tell you what, grassroots soccer can be just as exciting, if not more exciting, than what the professionals dish up. And this weekend is going to be the first local first versus second, if you like, top of the table clash in the state leagues. And it just so happens to be State League 5. And my money is on at least one, if not two, of the 3 Geelong teams in State League 5 vying for promotion come season's end. But this weekend, it's Lara taking on Surfside Waves, first versus second. The big clash taking place down at Ocean Grove at Shell Road Reserve. And to tell us all about, from his point of view, his team's point of view, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome Eric Lawrence, the coach of the Lara United Football Club senior men's team. Eric, welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Tonch?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. Really glad you can come on the show tonight. Tell us, mate. It's been a ripper start, hasn't it? First 2 games for 2 wins from 2 games. You're doing absolutely well. You can't ask for any more than that. How have you seen the start of the season so far?
Yeah, we started well. Everything we're sort of trying to put into place against these sides are sort of coming together. We've been really strong defensively, hard to score against. We've been controlling the game through the middle, and obviously we kicked 9 goals already. So it's going well so far, especially going up to Bendigo. I had that penciled in as the toughest fixture of the season, and we've gone up there and we've come away with 3 points. So yeah, good start.
Well, let's talk about the weekend's game against Bendigo. Bendigo still are considered one of the front runners for the competition alongside yourselves. But to come away with a 4-1 win, Joel Matouche scored a goal, Josh Kuipers and Trinity Marniso scored 2. He's on fire. He's scored 3 now in the opening 2 games.
Yeah, he's been absolutely flying. We sort of changed his position up a bit, so it's sort of unlocked his potential. And he's always had it, but now he's just really starting to show it at a senior level.
Yeah. Now turning our attention, obviously, to this weekend's game. Who would have thought Surfside Waves last year when they were struggling? They've been struggling the last couple of seasons since entering the state leagues. But Dan Benson will be speaking to him immediately after you, the new Surfside Waves coach. But they seem to be doing really well. Obviously, some of the key players is David Favetta, who scored 3 goals from the opening 2 games. Who obviously he's one of the players you need to keep an eye on. But who are some of the other players that you kind of think hold the key for the Waves?
Well, it's hard to sort of tell because they've had obviously a decent turnover of players. I think they've recruited quite a few guys from sort of that used to play in the state leagues for Barwon. So obviously there'll be some talent there. But we won't really look at individuals. We'll just look at it as a collective. And I just think Surfside are going to be a really tough test this week. Obviously, they haven't had the easiest run in the state leagues, but putting 2 wins together, they'll be full of confidence. So we won't be taking anything for granted. We'll be preparing just as we always do, and for a really tough contest.
Yeah, and local derbies are always pose that little bit more spice and added incentive, I suppose. So no doubt there's very little incentive needed to G your boys up there. They'd be frothing at the mouth. But if we look past this week, there's a big game in round 4 up against Tana United. Your first home game of the season, and that's going to be on Friday night, or Friday week, I should say, under lights. You're planning on having a few games on a Friday night under lights at Lara Recreation Reserve?
Yeah, I think we have 4 games under lights on a Friday night, just all the teams that we could that were close enough to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got 4 Saturday night games as well. So we're trying to really get that crowd involved, and I think it gives you a good advantage playing at night in front of our home crowd.
Yeah, and you've got some great facilities there at Lara Recreation Reserve now with the floodlights and the club rooms and the fencing as well. So it's really, really starting to come good off the field. On the field, is there pressure from the president, Paul Grisbeck, and the committee there to get promotion at all costs this year?
No, there's actually no pressure from those guys at all, but I'll put all that pressure on myself. So it won't be needed from them, but I'll be putting that pressure on myself.
Yeah. Now, we're just having a look, earlier in the program, we had a look at the draft, I guess, the competition structures for the local competition, and we noticed 3 Lara United men's teams in the competition this year. That provides a lot of playing personnel there. Is there a sort of a possibility that if you're needing the depth later in the season, you've got the reserves, you've got 3 men's Sunday league or local league teams to choose from? Are there a lot of players there that could be vying for a senior spot, down the track?
Well, I haven't actually been able to see a lot of those teams yet because their season hasn't started. But I know there is a lot of talented guys in there, and there will be definitely some of our reserve guys will be floating through in between both sides. So, our depth is really, really strong this year. Like, we've probably got a squad of about 40 guys at the moment just for the state league. Obviously, they all can't play. So, it's just competitions on for spots in the seniors and also the reserves. So, it's really good to see.
Yeah, well, before we let you go, we'll just have a quick look at the ladder there after 2 rounds. Obviously, it's only 2 rounds, but Lara United sitting pretty at the top with 6 points from 2 games. Surfside Waves also on 6 points, so only your 2 teams hold 100% record. But apart from obviously Surfside Waves, and that's the obstacle this weekend, who are some of the other teams that, in that division, do you think could pose a little bit of, or could pose a few problems for you in your quest to get out of State 5?
It's tough to tell at the moment because I know Wyndham were quite strong last year. So I expect them to be quite strong again. When it comes to Maidstone, Spring Hills, and Gisborne, I haven't really seen anything of those teams for a while. So who knows with those guys, but I was always expecting a tough game. And then obviously just still expect Bendigo to come good and really challenge us at the end of the year.
Yeah. Well, it certainly looks like it's going to be an enthralling contest this year. We appreciate you coming on the show, Eric. We wish you all the luck in season 2024. And we're hoping it's going to be a fantastic game on Saturday. I'm sure it will. 3 p.m. kickoff there at Shell Road Reserve, Lara United versus Surfside Waves. Mate, thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me. Anytime.
Good on you. That was Eric Lawrence, the coach of the Lara United Football Club. When we return after this very, very short break, we'll be speaking with his counterpart from the Surfside Waves, Dan Benson. Don't go away, folks.
Are you too busy running your own business to worry about your financials? Allow J Hill Books to focus on your books so you can focus on your core business. Based in Lara, Geelong, J Hill Books owner, operator and senior bookkeeper Judy Hill has always worked in finance administration. The world of cloud accounting, however, means that clients can be based anywhere within Australia. Currently, J Hill Books services clients from Lara, Geelong, the Bellarine Peninsula and Melbourne. You won't need to come home from working all day and start on paperwork. You can spend your time in other productive areas such as marketing or quoting, or even better, come home and switch off. You will know how your business is tracking as often as you need, whether that is on a weekly, monthly or quarterly basis. You can be satisfied that you are meeting your legal requirements to your staff and to the ATO. And deadlines will no longer be stressful for you. Let J Hill Books take the stress out of running a small business and allow you to enjoy watching your business go to the next level. For more information, visit our website at www.jhillbooks.com.au, or better yet, call us on 0402 469 243 or email us at info@jhillbooks.com.au.
Well, we've heard one side of the story from Saturday's big showdown, the Lara United coach, Eric Lawrence. And now it's time to speak to his counterpart from the Surfside Waves. It's a pleasure to welcome Dan Benson to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Dan, welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. How are you?
Thank you, Tonchi. Yeah, very well. Thank you, mate. Can't complain at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah, well, two wins from 2 games. Look, it's been a big turnaround from previous seasons, and there's obviously been a big turnover of players. But what have you put down to the first 2? And I know it's early days yet; we can't get too excited or anything like that. But what have you put down to the 100% win-loss record after 2 games?
I think we've recruited really well. We've brought in not only some quality footballers, but they're really good guys, really good blokes, and a lot of leadership into the club, which has provided a bit of a backbone for our younger players that we already kind of had around the club. And the mix of the two it's been seamless. So it's it was a little bit worrying initially, but it really has been a joy to coach, and the vibe at the club is just really positive. So while they've been tight games, we've come from behind to win both of them. The vibes just stayed really positive, and that's something that we're big on this season, just to really try and enjoy our football. And look, at the minute it's showing in the results, and hopefully that continues.
Yeah, I guess it's character building stuff, isn't it? When both games you come back from behind and you end up winning. Let's recap those results. In round 1, it was against Wyndham at home, 2-1 result. David Favetta scoring both those goals. And then on the weekend, always an interesting trip up to Gisborne. It could be a tough one depending on time of year. But you came back to win 3-2. David Favetta again scoring a goal. Oliver Hunneford and Oscar Beaumont Kelly. David Favetta, tell us a bit more about him. He scored 3 goals now from 2 games. He's really on fire.
Yeah, look, I better correct you, otherwise he won't be happy. He got 2 on the weekend, so he's actually got 4.
He's got 4.
Ollie won't be happy that I'm taking the goal off him, but it was definitely David. So he's got 4. He's been, a really quality signing. He's come across from Barwon. He's been playing Sunday Div 1 football there, and obviously offered him a chance to have a crack at state football, and he's managed to move things around with work to make that happen. And look, he's a good player, and he just knows where the goal is. So our job is just to keep giving him opportunities as close to the goal as we can, and he's taken a few really good ones so far. And again, hopefully that will continue moving forward.
Well, fantastic. Well, we've got to correct the results there, because that's according to the Football Victoria website, and geez, they can get it sometimes wrong. So he got 2 goals, and then who were the other goal scorers?
So Oscar Beaumont Kelly got the 3rd, which is correct. Yeah.
There
were 2 send-offs for Gisborne as well, so that's incorrect on there as well. So they did end up with 9 men.
Yeah.
And look, they're a good side. They will beat a lot of teams this season. So to get out of there with 3 points was fantastic for us, even though it did get a bit hairy towards the end.
Yeah, let's have a look at the ladder there. 2 wins from 2 games, share equal top spot with Lara United, who we'll talk about in a second. They are this weekend's opponents, followed by Maidstone United, and then Deakin Ducks as well. And we'll talk about that other game in a couple of weeks' time. But let's turn our attention to this weekend. Shell Road Reserve, all roads lead to Ocean Grove. Hopefully it's going to be a nice sunny afternoon.
Fingers crossed.
The first top of the table clash, or the first top of the table local derby clash this year in the state leagues. What are you expecting from Saturday's game against Lara United?
Well, I think the big thing for us is just to have you say that sentence and include our name in it, to be honest. So, look, as much as it's an exciting challenge for the club and for the team, I think just like every other game, we're looking at it as an opportunity. to go out and show the hard work that the boys have been doing in training, and hopefully again, look, we're just looking to control what we can control, and that's working hard and playing for one another and enjoying our football. And if that keeps turning into 3 points, then that's fantastic. But look, we've got our gala day there Saturday. It's the Mini Roo launch day. We've got bouncy castles. The work's happening all afternoon. So I think the women are playing, the girls are playing. So it's a big day for the club, and we're really excited to welcome Lara and to have a good crack for 6 points across the two games. The reserves are travelling well as well. So very much looking forward to it. Hopefully the sun will be out, and there should be a good crowd down there. I'm sure Lara will bring their own travellers as well.
Well, it makes certainly for a great day out, a great afternoon and a great day out. But speaking of the Surfside women's team, we were in the news section. We had a look at the local leagues. Competition structures have come out during the week. And there are two teams. Surfside Waves are fielding two women's teams, but there is a catch. The second women's team needs a coach and needs a team coordinator. So we are appealing to everyone out there who might be interested, part of the Surfside Waves family or not. Definitely jump on board. A great club down there. But how's that all looking, the local leagues, as far as the men and the women?
Look, it's looking great. I mean, the interest around the women's game has really shot up. I think they're already in the 30s in terms of registered players. So obviously looking for someone to come in and coach, alongside Paul there, and hopefully they can find, someone to come in and do that. But there's, more and more registering every day. On the men's side, we're looking quite strong this season. The state squad, we're nearly pushing 40 across the squad with training. So there's going to be a few feeding down to our Sunday team. So a little bit of strength and depth in the club. And again, that's a bit new for us. So, looking forward to the season as a whole, both obviously continuing at state league level, but also right down into the Sunday football, the women's and the juniors. It's very exciting.
What do you put it down to? I mean, obviously the Women's World Cup last year has had a flow-on effect as far as the female side of the game. But do you think maybe even the Masters Summer League, Surfside Waves had a pretty strong representation there. But do you think maybe coupled with people moving to the area, just what do you think? What do you put down to the explosion of growth in the game?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of play. I mean, we're one of the busiest junior clubs, I think, and the club is looking, to make long-term changes in terms of allowing for more players. I think the World Cup obviously had a factor in, and there's just a really good vibe around the club. I mean, Craig's doing a fantastic job with his volunteers, and I think, it's just a good place to be at the moment, and word spreading obviously amongst, friends of players and friends of friends, and we're just trying to be as welcoming as we can to all those that show up and, put their hand up to play football at whatever level that might be.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to the president there at Surfside Waves, Craig Wright, who does a fantastic job, both with the seniors and the juniors, and also his interactions with other clubs and the football community as a whole. And obviously it has got a flow-on effect. But let's return back to the senior men's state league side. After this one, it's another tough game, and this time it's another local derby, Deakin Ducks. This time this game is away from home. That's going to be in 2 weeks' time. So the next 2 weeks, it's going to be, I guess this is what the players live for, isn't it? They really enjoy the derby games, don't they? They really look forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's another challenge for us. I mean, we won't take our eyes off Lara until that game's out of the way. But obviously, Deakin showed what they're capable of last weekend with a comfortable win, and it's always a tough place to go and get 3 points. But we managed to beat them on the last day of last season, which started to build this kind of momentum. And I think we'll be looking for another 3 points when we go there, obviously. But first things first, this Saturday, and putting up a really good fight against what we're expecting to be a very tough Lara team. And then we'll turn our attention to travelling to the turf next weekend, and looking forward to taking on Deakin as well.
Well, Dan, we wish you all the very best for season 2024. And indeed, Saturday's game, hopefully, as they say, football is the winner. And I'm sure there's going to be a big crowd. I'm sure there's going to be lots and lots of food and refreshments on hand, but also hopefully the weather comes to the party. Enjoy the weekend.
Thanks, Tonchi.
Good on you. Dan Benson, the head coach of the senior men's team there at Surfside Waves Soccer Club. All roads lead to Ocean Grove and the Shell Road Reserve on Saturday for a 3 p.m. kickoff. It's showdown time the local derby, but also top versus second. And boy, what a game that's promising to be. Folks, we'll be back after this very, very short break, and we'll be wrapping up tonight's extraordinary episode, I guess the midweek episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Don't go away.
The world is yours. So work hard, and you can have whatever it is you want.
Well, that pretty much, folks, brings us to the end of tonight's episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Thank you to everyone who's contributed in the comments section, and especially to Jack Arlo, who's, well, the comment is there. It's massive. He's really thought about what the men's competition structure of the local leagues should be. So well done, Jack. Well done on your efforts. We're going to have a quick look at the fixtures again one last time for this weekend coming. Turning our attention, first of all, to the state leagues. The pick of the games there, obviously the Barn versus Keilor Wolves. That's going to be a classic confrontation there at Grovedale Reserve, dare I say. Whoever wins that is going to be looking very, very good. But it's still early days yet in all the State League competitions. Only round 3. Top versus second in State League 5, and their 2 local clubs, Surfside Waves taking on Lara United. And then the VPL men's competition on Saturday, round 9 action there. Bentley Greens hosting North Geelong Warriors. This corresponding fixture last year in the NPL competition saw North Geelong come away from Kingston Heath with a win. Fingers crossed that the Warriors can do the same again this weekend. And the ladies are in action on Sunday when Geelong Galaxy takes on Ringwood City at Hume Reserve. A big feast of football promised at Hume Reserve, with the juniors also in action at the same venue. But the big game kicks off at 3 p.m. and hopefully Galaxy can make it 2 wins from their opening 3 games. Thank you once again to everyone who's tuned into tonight's show. A big shout out to our major sponsor, the Gordon, and also our business advertisers, Curva Coaching, Highland Turf, Birregurra General Store, and J Hill Books. Just a reminder, next week we're back at our normal Monday night time slot of 8 p.m. And until then, do get yourself out to any one of the weekend games, whether it's the seniors, whether it's the juniors, whether it's the men or the women. There's heaps of football coming your way. And next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend, the local leagues, the mini-roos, the juniors, they all kick off. So we are going to have an extraordinary feast of football over the coming winter months. On behalf of the entire crew here at the Geelong Region Soccer Show and all the guys behind the scenes as well, thank you for tuning in. We look forward to your company on Monday night. Good night.